I saw a tweet today that went like this. Let me show it to you. So here it is. It's from Greg Eisenberg, who said, "A wonderful online course is so valuable, it's like you stealing from the teacher. A bad online course is a teacher stealing from you." And then he wasn't doing this in terms of teaching people how to teach. He said, tip, scout out for wonderful online courses. A few dollar investment will completely change a life. So that got me thinking, because I and many of the people who are watching this are people who create online courses. I started thinking through, well, what is it that makes an online course so valuable that people feel like they're stealing from you, the creator? What makes a course so valuable that, as Greg said, a few dollar investment will completely change a life? What can you put into a course that will totally change someone's life? And so I came up with a list. And I'm doing this based on the fact that I've taken a lot of courses, and I know you have too. And so what I'd like you to do is to write into the chat the things that you have found make a course that you take be so valuable that you feel like you're stealing from the person who taught it to you. Now, ideally, we want a mutual benefit thing here where you as the teacher don't feel like they stole from you. They feel like they stole from you. And so everybody is ecstatically happy. Okay. So I'm going to go through a series of things that I think are important to create that wonderful course that makes people feel that way. All right. So number one, the best courses that I've seen over and over again, give them a simple system or formula to achieve what they need to do. So one of the challenges is that many of us come from an educational world where we, and I don't mean we as teachers, I mean we as students, had to go to a class for a whole semester to learn everything there was to know about that particular subject that could be taught in that semester. So yes, you get a whole degree on accounting, but when I went to an accounting class, I spent a whole semester learning all the different elements of that accounting class. Then I went into managerial accounting. Then I went into, and so I went into all these, and that model is great. Unfortunately, what it does is it teaches us as teachers that the best way to teach is to give them like everything they need to know. Excuse me, not like everything they need to know. Everything that you have that you can teach them, which oftentimes means that you give them much more than they need to know to achieve the transformation that you are trying to help them achieve. And so if you can give them a simple system or formula, just do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, based on your expertise that cuts out all the other stuff that might be nice to know, but is not essential for them to know, or more importantly, not essential for them to do in order to achieve the transformation. And a key to that is if you can turn that into a graphical representation, a map, a flow chart, a checklist, something that enables someone to be able to say, here it is on a single printout on a piece of paper. Here is the system that Don just taught me to raise aardvarks as pets. And so by getting that, then they feel like once they understand each of the things that go in each of those boxes, that they are now comfortable and ready to go out into the world and try to achieve that transformation in their own life. So starts with a simple system, and it's best if you can portray it graphically that they can print out on a single piece of paper and put up on their wall. Here's the second one. I've already referenced this. They don't need to know everything, back to the college example, the high school example, you don't need to teach them the entire history of Europe to be able to teach them this particular concept. Just give them exactly what they need to know, not 197 hours worth of content on that particular subject. All right. Number 3, give them multiple ways to ask questions. Now, this becomes a little more difficult if you're doing an evergreen program. Design it into the system from the ground up so they have multiple ways to ask questions, and then, hey, answer those questions. Whether it's you or a coach or an employee, but they need to be able to ask questions and get them answered. Number 4, give them specific assignments that lead them to the transformation that you promised that you'd give them when you sold them the program. So this is not give them a worksheet with each video, which is, by the way, pretty in vogue in a lot of ways. Oh, hey, I can tell you that I'm going to give you 127 worksheets in this program. People don't want 127 worksheets. People want 6 assignments, that when they do those 6 assignments or 8 assignments or 10 assignments, whatever it is, that when they do those assignments, by the end, they've accomplished everything they need to have accomplished to arrive at the transformation that you promised them. Okay? Specific assignments that get them there. Now, oftentimes this does involve worksheets and handouts, and then a document where that assignment is clearly listed and delineated for them. And it's even better if you can add some accountability into that, where they're actually turning in their assignment and you're giving them feedback on their work. And ideally, other students are doing that also, which brings us to step number 5, which is give them a way to get feedback on the work that they're doing. So it's not enough to just be able to answer their questions. What they need to do is do something that moves them towards the transformation, and then you give them feedback that helps them improve that work that they've done to get that transformation. This is really key. So it's not the equivalent of taking a quiz in econ class and knowing that you got 7 out of 10 right, maybe even knowing what the 3 wrong were. What you're doing is this is the equivalent of them writing essay questions and you not only telling them that this is a B answer, but fixing the answer for them so that when they're done, they've got better product that they're creating that helps them to actually get to where they want to go. So I think of working with a personal trainer. So if a personal trainer just sits back and says, yeah, great, do 10 more, that's a totally different experience than if the personal trainer gets in there and says, now, wait a minute, if you move your hip this direction, see, now let's move it to there. Now, notice how what that just did is it focuses all of that exercise on that one muscle that we're working on. That right there is the difference of what we're talking about. If all you do is answer their questions and do the equivalent of saying, do 10 more, that's the college econ quiz. But if he moves your hips and so that it focuses all that exercise on the one muscle that is necessary to achieve the transformation that you're after, that's the aim that you have in doing this. You give them assignments and then they do that assignment, then you give them feedback that makes the work that they just did excellent. I realize this is hard for you as the teacher. But I assure you, the students, love it. Number 6, you need to provide both skills and mindset. So one of the challenges that many people have is that they tend to be either a skills-based teacher or a mindset-based teacher. And rarely do you find someone who does both. The problem is, I know of very few things that we can actually do in life to achieve a real live transformation, have our life and our business and our relationship and our health be actually better that doesn't involve both skills and mindset. And if your course doesn't provide both of those, your course has failed your students. And so you need to not only be training both skills and mindsets, you need to have in the feedback and in the answers to the questions that you're giving people, you need to focus on both skills and mindsets in there also. Because oftentimes what ends up happening is when someone asks you a question, let's say you're on a group coaching call and someone asks you a question, it becomes clear immediately that they either have a skill problem or a mindset problem. And if the only thing you have is a skill hammer, when someone presents a question that's actually a mindset question, but you turn it around and turn it into a skill answer, you have not responded to that person's real needs. You've not given them the thing that they need to achieve the transformation that they're after. Now, you may not have the ability to either see the skills or see the mindsets. You maybe that your mindset is so strong. So I tend to be a skills-based person. And so what I did in the last time I taught a program is I brought in somebody to coach with me who focused on the mindset piece. And yes, I talked some mindset and she talked some skills, but what ended up happening was I was really good at presenting the skill things. She was really good at seeing and presenting the mindset. And so between the two of us, we were able to deliver both the skills and the mindsets to our customers in that particular program. I like that model. It worked. Along that same lines, be human and humane. I have had far too many times where I sat and listened to somebody rip someone's hopes out from under them. You need to be kind in the feedback you give and the way you give it. And you need to be human. Just like they are human, when you need to when you make a mistake, you need to acknowledge it, be transparent, laugh it off, and go on and teach them the skills of doing the same thing in their own lives. And help them realize that when you're giving them feedback on their work, this is great. It's just that you are helping them make it even better. That's part of this process of being human and helping them recognize their humanity and being humane in the process of helping them improve the work that they're doing so they can achieve the transformation in their life. 2 more. I know. We're on number 8. Okay. It's like, how in the world did I do 9 separate things on this? But I've been thinking about this for like an hour now, and it's like, I have all kinds of thoughts. So next, give them a path to continue on after your course. A way that they can continue to get your help and your feedback and your coaches. This is a great way for you to sell the next level in your coaching program or whatever. But it's like the worst thing, not the worst thing, but a bad thing is for them to get all the way done with the program. And it's like, what's next? Well, sorry, nothing's next. I'm going on. I'm doing my next thing. And good luck with you. Good luck with that. And I hope you buy whatever I'm selling next. That's not what people want. There are some who want to go further with you. You should give them the opportunity to do that. Number 9. And in the spirit of recency and primacy, so remember, primacy, the first one in the list, is either the first most important or the last. So the first one was give them a system formula. That's incredibly important. But number 9 is the other one that's really important. And that's why I put them at the beginning, at the end. I live and I teach and I work using recency and primacy. If you have any questions about that, there's another video in this same channel about recency and primacy. Go watch it. It's important for you to understand. Okay, number 9 is to love them. Everyone knows when they're loved. And everyone knows when they're not really cared about. I like to think about teaching them like you would your own children or your best friend. That doesn't mean talk down to them, imagine them as a small child, but when your child was struggling with something and asked you for help, you willingly gave it. You praised things that maybe weren't praiseworthy yet, but you knew that that praise was important for them to be able to go on to the next step. That all comes out in your tone of voice, in the things you do, the things you say, and people can tell when you love them. There you go. 9 things. I'm sure I missed some. I would love to know what you have found be in the attributes of an amazing course. One where when you walked out of it, you felt like you had had the best course in your entire life. Put those in the comments so that we can all grow. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Let's go create programs that are so amazing that our students feel like they got way more than their money's worth. So maybe they even feel like they stole from you. I don't like that because it's got a negative implication, but to go back to the quote that we started this whole thing with, which was a wonderful online course is so valuable, it's like they're stealing from the teacher. That's the way you want them to feel. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.